You never seen him play because that was a long time before
Yep.
before I was born, and never quite understood like actually who he was, because to me he was just my granddad. Do you know what I mean? And then when I was around 9, Sunderland came along and signed us, so I had to choose between the two. And obviously I picked football then.
Yeah, pick
No one
football.
wants to play rugby union. I said at the start, I said I'm gonna give myself like one more year.
Yep.
And this year I'm just gonna go all out and just put everything into it. And at the end, if it doesn't work out, then I'll try something else. Definitely surreal. Like you're training with blokes that you're watching on the TV and stuff like that, and you're seeing have interviews on Sky and stuff, and you're like, what on earth? And it feels a bit strange, and you feel like almost that's like that you're an imposter.
Right, it's about 38 degrees. We're outside. Hopefully get a bit of a tan, not burn today. But yeah, another episode of Player Focus. Today we've got Kieran Hudson, Castleford Tigers player. How are you doing, Kieran?
I'm good today. Aye,
Brilliant. Enjoying the sun.
definitely.
I was training today in this weather.
Very hot.
Yeah,
Very hot
imagine.
indeed. After not playing as well, running in this, Malcolm's, bro.
Malcolm's, yeah.
Malcolm's
Yeah,
the
you
best.
described what Malcolm's were. They sound like your worst nightmare in this type
In
of
this
weather.
heat especially, aye.
Yeah, that can't be good. But yeah, we'd love to. I think the audience would love to know your story. I brought you on because I think personally you've got one of the more interesting rugby league stories
Yeah.
out there. I think a lot of players go up the rankings, but you've had a fair story to be
It's
fair
definitely
to
not
you.
the typical way of getting to where I am. So
No, so we'll start from the beginning then, as it's always a good place to start. The your grandfather. Who is your grandfather?
my granddad was John Holmes. So I basically just obviously never seen him play because that was a long time before
Yep.
I was born, and never quite understood like actually who he was, because to me he was just my granddad. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like it wasn't until I got to probably about 16 when I actually started playing rugby league, 16, 17 round then, that I was like, oh bloody hell, like
That's crazy.
that's him. Do you know what I mean?
So just your granddad, nothing. Like,
No.
what's that like then when it hits you that your granddad, obviously in the sport, John Holmes is, I think, one of the top 5 legends of rugby league. What
Yeah.
was that like when it clicked?
It wasn't so much a click because like obviously from where I'm Sunderland, it's like it's just football and stuff like that, so it never really clicked with us. It was just sort of like, it was just kind of like, my granddad used to play rugby like that.
Yeah.
And it's only now I'm like, oh bloody hell, I wish I asked him and like what tips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Getting the halves and that.
Yeah, I've got you. Yes, yeah. So you never wanted to go in his footsteps and get yourself. You're probably a bit too big to play half, but in your younger days, did you?
Oh, maybe,
Did
yeah.
you
Well,
really
he played fullback and wing, I'm sure, a few times as well. So
Yeah, got you. All good. So that's an interesting start. So you've done that, but then you decide you didn't really know about as you said, didn't know how good of a rugby league player it was. So you actually,
Yeah.
like you said, football was your main one. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, I started off playing rugby union because up in Sunderland and around Newcastle and stuff, there was no rugby league team at all.
Yeah,
There was just rugby union, where it was like, when you pull the tag off the belt and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
It was literally just that, and it got to a point where I was doing that, and I was also just playing football at the same time. And then when I was around 9, Sunderland came along and signed us, so I had to choose between the two. And obviously I picked football then.
Yeah,
'cause
pick
No
football.
one wants to play rugby union.
So tell us about Sunderland then. What was that like? So you said 9 years old. So that's
9
pretty.
till about 16.
No, fair.
So I spent
Yeah, fair
pretty
do
much
that. Yeah.
a lot of my childhood playing football.
And position
Goalkeeper, yeah.
goalkeeper.
Yeah, outfield player.
Did you what were your strengths as a goalkeeper then? Just
Catching.
catch it, eh? That's
Pretty much
good.
catching.
Yeah.
Diving at people's feet. Anything like that, I was awful at kicking.
You're probably brave, aren't you? I've seen you on the
Brave,
pitch.
aye.
I bet you got
Aye.
stuck in as the goalkeeper. I remember when I was younger, I think the goalkeeper nearly decapitated one of my friends because he were mad, and he nearly got signed by Leeds United because he was brave.
Yeah.
His issue was he might kill me because I still know him, but his issue was if he let more than 2 goals in, he'd have a bit of a cry.
I know how he feels exactly.
Oh, is it that bad?
Well, you make one mistake and it's a goal, and then it's all your fault.
Well, that's a lot of pressure, isn't it?
It is
Probably
pressure.
the most.
Yeah.
I probably never think about that as much. How much pressure there is on a goalkeeper, because I know you've only got to look at like Alisson and that, haven't you? Where they not Alisson, bloody hell, who was the one before him at Liverpool?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, the Liverpool goalkeeper who screwed up in the final and he's never been the same since, has he? So yeah, I guess there is. So is that, and then from there you've gone Sunderland. What happened? How did the transition to Rugby League happen then? Because that's a goalkeeper, I get it. Obviously catching the ball and that a bit of skill, but not much really.
Yeah, I was always so obviously from 9 till 16, I was playing football, but like I remember we used to there was like at the end of the season we actually like once we played rugby.
Yeah.
Like just for a bit of fun instead of playing football. Like now, like for a bit of fun rugby, you play football.
Yeah,
so it's the other way around.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, you're like. How come you're so fast when you've got the ball, but when you played football, you're so slow?
Oh, really? Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
Wow.
So there was like, I can tell like the way you're passing the ball and stuff that you're used to it. And
it's
stuff
in the
like
genes.
That. Yeah. So they got a shot off that, and then so I got released when I was 16. So I was short than I am now.
You know, I can't believe that. Whenever you tell me that,
5'8" or something like that.
It's not that short, Kieran. I'm
shorter. That's why I was shorter. Shorter than I was. So I was about 5'8". So I was small because I've got quite a tall friendship group.
Yeah.
I was like probably one of the smallest there. So coming out with that, my mates played rugby as well.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's when rugby league team just started coming, and they used to come to the
Gateshead Thunder at the time, or was it Newcastle?
It was Gateshead Thunder. It was Newcastle Thunder.
Newcastle, yeah. So I don't know what. Thinking so much just so they've just transitioned to Newcastle.
Yeah, just transitioned to Newcastle. It was sort of like because there was 4 of us were playing rugby. Yeah. 3 of my mates were signed on at Newcastle.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I was the only one that wasn't, and I was desperate. I was so desperate to go and play with them.
Yeah.
Because obviously I want to play for an academy, and I want to play for my 3 mates as well.
Yeah. And
I was doing everything to get in, but I was just slow. I was like, I think I was going through that transition of, because I was late at developing.
Yeah.
It was sort of like 16, 17, getting around 18. It was like I wasn't used to me body or anything. I hadn't grown.
So when did the growth spurts happen then? Because if you can't tell on the video, I think you're 6'5" now, is it?
Yeah.
No, so you've had a fair growth spurt.
Yeah. It was over the space of 2 years. That's when I just shot up.
Yeah.
But it was obviously getting used to me body parts and stuff. I'd say like.
It takes a while. That if you look, I watch a lot of under 16s. You know what I mean? Not under 16s, under 18s, and you watch them, and there's the big lads. It is true, innit? At that age, you don't know your own body. A lot of them I've noticed are quite soft tacklers at that age. Some of them, obviously not all, are quite soft tacklers because they don't realise how much.
Yeah.
How much power they have in the body. Yeah. Was that? It's a weird transition.
Yeah. Well, it was like with the football. It was like sort of around that 16 mark. I was dropping the ball loads, and I felt like so uncoordinated. I was letting those goals in and stuff like that. And it only really clicked not long ago. I was like, hang on, I was just growing in. I was getting used to where my hands were and stuff like that. So
yeah.
So it was round about 18 or so. That's when I started to get a little bit quicker and stuff like that. And I was like, right.
And then you were so you got quicker, but you were a winger, weren't you?
Yeah, I started off. Well, I started off fullback.
Fullback.
But I wasn't quick enough to play fullback. I could just catch the high balls, obviously, because I just came straight from
goalkeeper.
Sunderland, and then out onto the wing, and then just slowly centre, back row, middle.
Brilliant. So what? That's literally all from the age of 16 to 18. You've gone from 5'8" to.
Yeah, and then the position changed from about 18 to 19.
So you've literally gone through them positions in 1 year.
Mm.
Jesus. So what were Newcastle? What were the academy coaches saying to you? What was their view of things?
Well, it was. I tore my hamstring when we played Wakefield in a friendly.
Yeah.
The first thing I tore my hamstring, and I was just kind of bashing the gym, eating loads. and I could run hard as well.
Yeah, you can. You can.
But I couldn't score.
Yeah.
For some reason, I just never scored.
Yeah.
Like on the wing or anything like that. And then I just slowly went, obviously, to centre, and then just back row. And then I remember that I was sat in a meeting with Heapy and Simon Finnegan.
Yeah.
And it was just before I was going to sign for, like, it was after the academy, and we were going to sign, like my contract for the first team. And I had to ask them at the end, like, what position do I play? Am I a prop or am I a winger? And he was like, well, what do you think you are? And I was like, I have no idea. He went, until it shows otherwise, you're a prop. And I'm like, alright, sound.
Alright, and then from there
from there, prop.
Yeah. Well, if you've not seen Kieran play, it makes sense that he was a winger, because he's got the modern day wingers carry, haven't you? You've got you're a kamikaze runner, aren't you? I'd say you've got no, as my dad says, you've got no handbrake. You're running as hard as you can, as tough as you can, and you're probably now learning to to tame it back and figure everything out, aren't you, and what speed you're meant to go. So then you're at Newcastle. You're in the reserves. Tell us a bit about that and your time at Midlands on loan, and because this is just before COVID, is it? Around before COVID. And tell us a bit about that.
So obviously it was 2020. That was when it was happening.
Yeah.
Sort of obviously COVID happened around March time, and I didn't play again didn't train till probably about the January.
Yeah.
21, and that's when we started to go into pre-season and stuff like that. And obviously everyone dealt with COVID because it was hard, wasn't it? Like
really hard.
So it was sort of, I couldn't quite get my head around it, because it was sort of like I couldn't work in my gym where I was working.
Yep.
Because they were closed, but we were just training. So it was like you would wake up in the morning, you would just wait all day to go to training on the night. I couldn't get my head around it because it felt like I had no other purpose, and it was more pressure, because it was like that's the only thing at the minute, as deep as it sounds, that you're living for, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course, because that's, you don't mind me saying, you've told me before that you probably struggled a bit around that time, didn't you? With a bit of COVID
yeah, definitely, yeah. Well, I took a few months out, to be fair.
Yeah.
Off playing rugby league. I didn't know if that was the problem and stuff like that, but after coming back and then going on loan to, it was Coventry at the time.
Coventry,
Midlands
sorry, yeah.
And Richard Squires, and that he took us under his wing for a couple of games, and that's when I realised, hang on, I do actually love playing rugby. And I think that took us back, when I go back into Newcastle, gives us a bit of confidence and stuff, realised I could do it. So
yeah, because then from which point did you get in touch with Show Me, and then when did we develop that relationship along that path? It was at the end of the season. So it's probably, I'm going to say it's around October time or something like that. I got in touch with his. But if I was perfectly honest, I said to myself at the start, because I'm very all or nothing, I'm very quite obsessed with everything. Yeah.
I said to him, and I put a lot of pressure on myself. And I said at the start, I said, I'm going to give myself like one more year.
Yeah.
And this year, I'm just going to go all out and just put everything into it. And at the end, if it doesn't work out, then I'll try something else. Because I was sort of getting around that age where...
Because the bit of backstory from like our perspective is that you've come in and you didn't quite find your place at Newcastle Reserves. I don't know if that's the right...
3-4 games.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah, and you're probably trying to figure out what you want to do with your life, and then I think you've got in contact with us. And to be honest, I don't want to put credit on myself. I'll give myself a bit of a confidence, but I watched your video and I was like, wow! Like I saw you had so much potential, and you just probably, as I got to know you, probably just needed a bit of confidence boost. And a bit of fitness, so we spoke to people. Your fitness has always been a big one, and it figuring out how to get that. And I think, but you showed enough in them clips of of your carry, your toughness, your tackling, all unbelievable. And the funny story is, from our perspective, is honestly, what happened? I was sat on the couch there, and I'm watching your video that you're sending me of your short clips. I'm like, I can't work out, if you don't mind me saying, why you're struggling a bit at Newcastle. It didn't click in my head. I was like, I don't get it. And then I showed my dad your clips, and he went, who Who's that? That's because there's not many carry. You've got a Matty, for people that don't know, he's got a carry like Matty Lees and like Wormsley is obviously similar size, just an absolute battering ram. So we're figuring out why it wasn't quite working, and then you've gone from Newcastle where you were, and then you've gone to Whitehaven, haven't you? And I think in them, even in 2 months, you found a place that you enjoyed playing at, didn't you? Again,
yeah, definitely. I think that was always the main thing with me. Just if I'm enjoying whatever I'm doing, then like everyone, you'll be good at it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you feel comfortable, so obviously I was lucky to find yous and Jonty and stuff like that at Whitehaven that sort of encourages and gives us that confidence to allow me to express myself and like that.
Well, it's just, I think it's a thing in it for anyone who's watching. It's if you sometimes different situations are just not right for you, are they? It's completely dependent. Some lads at Newcastle have kicked on now in Newcastle first team. That brilliant lads, and it suit their style of doing things suits them. But then I think you enjoyed a different way, didn't you? And I think that's what you found at Whitehaven, to be fair to you.
Yeah.
And then from Whitehaven, the funny story is he's played two or three pre-season games that you played at Whitehaven?
It was one pre-season.
Wow, one, yeah.
And one, like, league game at the start.
Oh, one in the cup as well, wasn't it? Was there one in the cup I fought against?
There was one against Swinton.
Yeah.
That was friendly.
Yeah.
Then there was Lee.
Yeah.
And then I think it was Barrow after that or something like that.
Yeah. You also, I thought you also played Worky, didn't you, in a pre?
Nah,
oh, you not in that game? Sorry.
No.
So he's played. So yeah, he's played three not I keep saying pre-season. Played 3 games. Then what happened? I'll let you. I'll let you give the.
Well, basically, there was a lot of driving from Whitehaven back home, and there was a lot of talk of obviously you on the phone. And I think a lot changed.
Yeah, and as we're talking, we worked a lot. I think as we said, your fitness was always a big one, wasn't it? And you got that right, didn't you, in pre-season? Actually, before we get on to your big deal, what happened with your fitness? What finally clicked then for people who? It's a thing in rugby league, isn't it? I think we just did a podcast. People do struggle. What did you do to make that next step up? Obviously, you've got to make another step up now. But what was the thing to get to the fitness you needed to be for champ?
I think it was just like the desire, really, and I was like hungry for it.
Yeah.
It was coming out of Newcastle. I was there since I was 17 or whatever. People knew what I was capable of, and then it was going into a new team. Obviously, Whitehaven. No one knew who I was.
Yeah.
No one knew what I was capable of. No one knew what I could do. So I kind of had to prove myself, really, and do extra hours when I wasn't there. Go out for runs and stuff like that.
Yeah, brilliant. Because you did, didn't you? I think that was. I think from anyone who would judge you probably at your time at Newcastle, that was your, as we asked around, to be honest, that was probably your main
weakness,
negative, main weakness you had, that you do these 5-10 minute stints that were unbelievable, and you blow up a bit, wouldn't you? And then, but obviously as you've got to know, it's probably because you didn't have the love for it as much then. Then you've found you've got that desire and passion, and I think the big tell was the Swinton you did. You did 45 or like 50, 60 minutes, didn't you, nearly?
Yeah.
You think you nearly did 60, and then I think from that moment it clicked, didn't it? And you've shot up. So from there, I think the big thing that happened is in the 3 games, and it just shows that any player at any standard, you can be any standard, because from there, them 3 games, Cass have come in for him. Cass have come in for Kieran, and that was obviously an amazing moment, I think, for all of us. We went, I would say a journey. It was about a 3-month journey from there, but you went through a lot in them 3 months. Obviously, as we spoke about, you're figuring yourself out, what your passion is for rugby, what level you want to be. And Cass have come in, and you've ended up signing a 2-year deal at Cass after 3 games at Whitehaven, which might have broke a record. I don't know if
crazy,
I don't know if that is a record, but it must be close. I don't imagine there's many people who have done it that quick, but because it's true, innit? How do you feel about that? Obviously, that you do have this potential, just getting it right. It's a weird feeling, because I think for me is I'm 5'5". I played tennis in America. Like I never had that much potential. I just did what I could and got to a level I was happy with.
Yeah.
And I think the last year you've been filled with a lot of promise and a lot of things saying you've got loads of potential. You've got loads of things. What's that like to handle for people who don't know?
I think I've always been told by my parents and stuff that I've got the potential to do whatever I want to do, and I've got that capability, like sort of that raw talent.
Yeah.
But it was always like my self-doubt and stuff. I never quite believed in myself, and it was only probably till last year that I was like, hang on, like I'll just give it a shot. If it don't work, it don't work. If it does, then there we go. And I think from then I just started believing in myself, and if you believe in yourself, you can pretty much do anything.
I do. It's like a good self-help book,
Exactly,
isn't it? It's the famous quote in it. I think Luke Rockhold said that in a press conference, and but it's true, isn't it? If you do believe, I think that's something that just getting to know you, you definitely do probably struggle with a bit in it, that inner confidence of knowing I can be that good.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's something you're probably still figuring out yourself now, isn't it? Yeah. Because you're at Cass, obviously, and then what's that step up from? You've gone from Newcastle Reserves, Whitehaven to Cass now, and how's that transition been? That's enough. You've gone through 3 transitions in the space of a year. Yeah. So how's this next transition?
Definitely surreal. Like you're training with blokes that you're watching on the TV and stuff like that, and you're seeing have interviews on Sky and stuff, and you're like, what on earth? And it feels a bit strange, and you feel like almost that's like that you're an imposter, and you start to question yourself. How am I here when I'm sitting with all these they're like superstars? Do you know what I mean? You've been watching them and all that sort of stuff. But the transition, it's good. Like they've all been really, really welcoming and stuff. Like
brilliant.
And they're all a good set of lads. So
how'd you find Old Radders? He's a good lad, isn't he? I think Old Radders.
Yeah, he's great. He's a tough old bootleg, isn't he?
Yeah, one of them old school. Yeah, old school coaches.
I wouldn't want to mess with him myself, to be fair.
I don't think many would.
Nah, definitely not.
I think there's a few famous stories. I think he did a charity boxing. I hope you don't mind me. I think he did a charity boxing fight one year years ago, and he did it over in. I think it was somewhere on the southern hemisphere. I think in Australia and that, and he got it on, and I think he's known as one of the best hands. I think it's him or Brian Mack who are top two hands in rugby league coaching.
I won't question him on his video or anything like that.
No, yes, yes, you are correct. Yeah,
smile and nod.
Smile and nod, brilliant. No, so yeah, I think definitely, Cass, you're enjoying it. So it's been brilliant, and I've just knowing you for. How long has it been? 8 months now. Yeah, I've been so happy with you because you have, haven't you? And it's you've mentioned your desire and that, and where does that come from? Just with wanting to max out your potential? Is it wanting to do the best for you? Is it family? What's all going off in your head?
I think it's because I've been told from a young age, you got so much potential, you got this, you got that, but then you get to a point where you're like, when are they going to stop saying you've got potential, and when are you actually going to do something with it? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because you could get a 50 and they could say, you got so much potential, and then next time you know it, so I think it was just sort of it's now or never. Do you know what I mean? When at that time, 21, 22 now, it was just sort of that's when to go for it. If there's any time to do it, just go for it then. Do you know what I mean? So.
No, it's true. Well, you just don't want to live with regret, do you?
No, definitely not.
I think the most, not living with regret, but you said Joe Westerman's been a big influence on you on the team a bit, hasn't he? Or really showed how you should be. And I think if you hear Joe's story, Joe were one of the best youngsters, I think, in his crop. One of the best, I think a load of people say the best they've seen at a young 17, 18-year-old. And you know what I mean? He probably looks back and probably says, you know what I mean? He's been an amazing player, but what he could have been, but now he's getting it right and spot on, and he said you've got a lot from him, haven't you?
Oh, definitely. I think you try and learn as much as I can from obviously everyone that's there. Do you know what I mean? Take little bits from each person and then try and put that in the game. Like I said, just trying to maximise, just being there. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, everyone's got little parts of the game, and if I can put little bits into my game, then hopefully be unstoppable.
Yeah, and then so Cass fans, some Cass fans that are watching. What have they to come? What have they to come? Sell yourself. What is? What if Cass fans are watching this going? Oh, I remember when he signed. I've not seen him yet. What would you say is your greatest asset?
I'll definitely run hard. I'll definitely run hard for yous, and I'll definitely tackle hard.
Yeah, you will. You will. If you want to see more, check out our clips that we've done on Kieran. It's on YouTube. Kieran Hudson highlights. You'll see someone tackle and run very hard. And what's the bits of the game that obviously they can see your work at? What's your main things you're working on?
The main part of it's definitely just me knowledge and stuff. Like obviously coming from somewhere which is very football orientated, like I said, and just like rugby league is not very big up there. I know Newcastle are trying to expand it and stuff in that region. But just like lads that have played rugby league since 5 and coming up and stuff like that, they've already got that 10, 11 year head start on us. And it's like me just trying, I've already got like little parts of the game, and I think trying to understand it, watching more rugby like you've been getting out me back about and stuff like that. So I'm just learning more about it, watching some of the older players, see how they do it.
Why? So I've noticed that a lot of young lads, I think like proper rugby league people will be surprised that a lot of young lads, some of your mates, don't watch. A lot of them don't actually watch much rugby league. No. It might be an issue with the game as a whole and not promote whatever, but a lot of them don't actually watch much rugby, do they?
No, not at all. Well, especially where I'm from, no one really watches it at all, to be fair.
Yeah. So you've really, the way we like to describe you is a bit untouched, isn't it? Like you've not had loads and loads fired into you yet, so there's still hopefully, if you click on, there's still loads to come, isn't there?
Hopefully.
Still loads to come. And then, so we're hoping for next year you'll be in and around the first team, and you should be.
I'm hoping so. I think that's definitely my goal. I think this year and through pre-season, like I said, just trying to learn as much as I can, and just be like a sponge with all that knowledge from all the other players, obviously from Radders, from loads of different from different people.
Brilliant. And then who would you say you're closest to at Cass? Then let's give that one. Who's been your number one role model?
Oh, role model.
Yeah, I'll give you that one, sir.
Role model. I think Suey. He's definitely
really
took us under his wing. I'm always at the start of the sessions. I'm trying to get feet like him. Because at the minute I'm just on a tram line, so just straight ahead.
Yeah.
So.
No, brilliant. Yeah. To be fair though, I don't think it'd be nice to see you with feet, but that tram line's one of the best tram lines I've seen. To be fair, so you might not need a. As long as you have you've got the old Wormsley, aren't you? The old
maybe a little bit of a shuffle or a head wobble.
Yeah, maybe something to So no, it's all good. I think you've definitely as you said, obviously you've got that much potential. Where do you see yourself in 10 years when you're coming to your end of your career? You're 31, 32. Where do you see yourself? What do you see you've achieved?
I'm hoping when I get to that age, I look back and I have no regrets. I know that I've put sort of.
It's a deep one, that.
It is deep.
Deep one, that.
Just that I've put everything into it. I know for a fact I've put everything into it, and hopefully I achieve some great things. I'm definitely willing to put the effort in to get there. So
yeah, and what would be left it quite open though there, Kieran. You've left it very open, which is probably good because then you could have no regrets and be a brilliant championship player, couldn't you? Or you could be one of Super League's best, or you could just play 50 games at Super League. But what? So that's you've left it open there. Is that on purpose or what's your thoughts?
I just take you never know what's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? So like at the start, maybe 8 months ago, whatever, I was still at Whitehaven and just doing pre-season. No one really knew it of us or anything like that, and just thought you never know what's around the corner. So I just take each step as it comes, and I just say, when I get that age, I just look back and I try and fulfill my potential and just do the best I can. That's all I can really do.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, like I said, I like it because I can be a bit deeper. To be fair, normally with rugby lads, you just get Australia and that. You've left it quite. Now it's gone off again. You've left it quite open. That's probably because you've not been. That's probably because you've not been in that rugby league world.
Yeah, it's exactly. I obviously have no idea what I can actually do. Do you know what I mean?
That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So no, I think I'd love it if you get an 100 Super League games. You've done like you come well now. I think you've done brilliant, haven't you? From that lad who got released at Newcastle last year to now, if you went and play a bunch of Super League games, I think you've done brilliant. And you're definitely, one thing about you is you definitely put in the work, don't you? I think you're putting a lot outside the game, don't you, mentally, to get get yourself ready for it all. Because I think reason why probably some rugby league lads do well is that the deepness can probably be a bit of an issue as well, because I think some of them have only done rugby, so it's all they know, so they don't really have other things going on, do they? Where I think you do, don't you? You've seen a bit of life, you've done a bit of this, you went to uni, didn't you?
No. College and stuff like that.
College, sorry, no, I've made that up. Yeah. Sorry, Kieran. I don't know.
I was going to.
Oh, you're going to. Sorry, I was about to say. I thought, I apologise, but you've seen a bit of like. Where's your best travel? Where's your best holiday destination you've been?
Oh, it's definitely America. So you'll like that.
I do like that. Yeah. Whereabouts?
Obviously Florida and stuff like that.
Florida.
Yeah.
Don't say just Disneyland, or you've been more than.
Oh no, I've been.
Okay. I've had a lot of people say
Universal
Florida.
Studios and that as well.
Yeah, a lot of them just say Disneyland and Universal. Where have you been at Florida? Is it the where they call it's the Keys in it now? I
forgot what it's called. I went to Busch Gardens as well.
Busch Gardens, wow. My girlfriend's grandparents live in Florida, so I went once and it were unbelievable. They've got a tree like that, and it was just full of parrots. Not that they own, but they fly. Yeah. The parrots land on this tree. Not parrots, cocker. No, what's the ones that are like parrots but not parrots?
Pigeons.
I think so. I generally think
pigeons.
No, pigeon. No, what are the Sam? Do you know the parrots that aren't parrots? Like, I'm going off course here anyway, but there's this bird that land there every single day, and it's just another world over there, and it's sun every day, and they're all mental that along the highway, which is obviously motorway, and that there's people fishing. It's just they just live a different lifestyle, don't they?
Definitely.
And that sun's hard to beat. The beach, they've got manatees and that were amazing. We walked along the beach side, this manatee in the sea. Oh wow, that's best we get. I think you get some cool things up north and down south, don't you? But around us, seaside,
it's classic tourist, mate.
yeah, there's not as much, but no, because I think a lot of, in my view, I think that's something that a lot of rugby league people could probably learn to do a bit better, is travel a bit. A lot of them are quite homebodies as such, aren't they? They're from Yorkshire, they stay in Yorkshire.
Yeah.
I think some of them could do well with travelling about.
I have to. I'm too obsessed. If I get too obsessed over things, so especially things like this, rugby. I have to have some. For some people, like that works for them, being obsessed on one thing and just totally like tunnel vision. For me, it don't quite work, so I have to have other things going on and stuff.
What's going on currently then? What's your interest other than
what's my interest at the minute? I tried golf.
Tried golf?
Awful.
Were you?
Absolutely awful. Brad has told us to try it, and I tried it, and I just couldn't even hit the ball. Still trying though.
Brilliant.
Still trying.
Not bad. Give failed golf for that.
Failed golf and try something else. Maybe badminton or something.
Badminton, yeah. Something you can do, and table tennis maybe.
I'm not bendy enough for golf. That's the problem.
What you what?
I'm not bendy enough for it.
Not flexible.
Not flexible.
Not a
bendy,
not a talent you have.
No, definitely not.
No, brilliant. And then all good. And I think we'll finish off by saying let's just quick fire some questions. You ready? Then get your. So, done favourite holiday destination, ideal holiday destination that you've not been to yet. Let's get to know a bit about you.
Ideal. I'd have got Dubai, mate.
Dubai.
Dubai.
With the posers, or just
not with the posers, nah. Just
Instagram model Kieran Hudson.
None of that. Maybe lurking in the background with an ice cream or something.
Brilliant, Dubai. Yeah, that's brilliant. Favourite rugby league player currently.
Wormsley's up there because you keep
saying watching him, don't you? I keep pushing him. I'm going to test your knowledge here because you've not got a favourite rugby player from the past and you can't say your granddad.
Jamie Peacock.
Oh God, TV's gone off. Jamie Peacock.
Peacock guy.
Brilliant, yeah. met Jamie a couple of times, legend of the game. Yeah, go proper like it, like it.
Hard as well, isn't he?
Yeah,
No.
bloody hell, yeah. That fight where he fights, it's Willie Mason, isn't it? Willie Mason and
yeah,
wins.
yeah.
He wins for the English. One of the best videos ever. That. I don't know what's happened there. Sorry, TV's gone off. Willie Mason, best thing I've ever seen. And then let's go. End destination. How many Super League appearances?
I don't even know what's a realistic amount.
Just say one. There's no judgment. There'll be no. I'll make sure that we'll say no judgment on whatever you come out with.
500.
500. I think that's a bit much. I think that's a bit much. Yeah, I think normally happy with like 200-300 you'd be.
300.
300 maximum possible, basically.
500. I'm going on 50.
Yeah. And then I think we'll go. Do you have a brother or sister?
Yeah, I've got a blood brother.
Nice.
I've got step brother.
Lovely.
2 stepsisters.
Oh wow, fairly.
And a half sister.
Wow, big family then. Yeah, didn't they? Yeah, wow, amazing. And then favourite hobby other than rugby? We got into that.
Netflix.
Netflix.
Just sitting doing nothing, watching Netflix.
Favourite TV show on Netflix?
Vikings. I don't know if that's on Netflix. That's on Amazon.
Amazon, yeah.
That is the best TV show ever. Vikings, definitely.
Yeah, were you a Game of Thrones fan when that was? I were massive. Yeah,
definitely think Vikings tops it though.
Really? Wow, that's a big statement.
I know,
I've
said it.
Are you sure?
Right.
Wow, that's blown my mind. Okay, favourite movie?
Oh, I forgot even what it's called. That's not a good start, is it?
No, yeah.
Lone Survivor.
Lone Survivor. Do you see yourself as a bit of a lone survivor? You've made it through
seen it?
Yeah, it's the it's the one where it's the army one, isn't it? Yeah. Where he goes, he's the last one, and he goes around.
It's
a good thing. It's a good. Yeah. I watched. He does a podcast on, I think, Joe Rogan. I watched it. Yeah, if you're into it, he tells the real story of it all. It's mind blowing. Yeah, because he says it's like any movie. I think they dramatise some, but then leave some of the crazy stuff out.
All right.
Yeah, so you should watch that. It's an unbelievable
podcast. And I'll stick that on.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, and then we'll finish off. How many kids do you want?
2. I want 2 sons.
2 sons. Oh, sorry for the ladies out there.
No daughters. Definitely no daughters.
No daughter. Well, brilliant. Thank you for this, pal.
Thanks for having us,
really
mate.
Enjoyed it, and good luck for the rest of the year. And hopefully, Cas fans, you'll be seeing him maybe later on this year, probably next year.
Yeah,
Let's go. Let's crack on.